Imagine a fledgling nation, barely a decade old, standing against the greatest naval empire the world had ever known. Its shores were undefended, trade routes vulnerable, its people desperate for protection. And yet, against all odds, a handful of visionaries and daring sailors laid the foundation for what would become the most formidable naval force on the planet, the United States Navy. Today, we unravel the story of the men behind this legacy, the father of the U.S. Navy, the audacious sea commander who refused to surrender, and the visionaries who made their dreams reality. Welcome back to Past Historical Events, the channel where we dive into the pivotal moments that shaped our world. If you've ever wondered how a tiny group of colonies became a global naval power, this story is for you. From daring sea battles to the political maneuvering that birthed America's Navy, this is the story of courage, strategy, and vision on the high seas. In the late 18th century, the American colonies were in turmoil. The Revolutionary War had just begun in 1775, and the 13 colonies faced a daunting adversary: the British Royal Navy, the largest and most experienced naval force in the world. Britain's ships could blockade ports, disrupt trade, and strike anywhere along the Atlantic coast. America, by contrast, had no formal navy. Coastal defenses were minimal, merchant ships were defenseless, and privateering was haphazard. The young nation realized that without control of the seas, its independence would be impossible to defend. This is where visionaries like John Adams and John Paul Jones stepped in, each playing a critical role in shaping the Navy in their own unique way. Many people think the title Father of the U.S. Navy belongs to a daring sailor, but historically, it often refers to John Adams, the fiery founding father and second president of the United States. Adams understood that a strong navy was not just a military asset but a lifeline for commerce, independence, and national security. In 1775, as the Continental Congress debated the war effort, Adams argued passionately for the creation of armed vessels. He envisioned a small but powerful fleet capable of defending American waters and striking at British shipping. In October of that year, the Congress authorized the purchase of 2 armed ships, marking the very first step toward a formal navy. Adams' foresight was remarkable. He believed that while militias could defend land, true independence depended on securing the oceans. He often wrote that a navy, however small, is our natural defense, and saw maritime power as America's shield against foreign dominance. Beyond authorizing the first 2 ships, Adams pushed for creating the Continental Navy Board, an early administrative body to oversee procurement, construction, and officer appointments. He also recognized the importance of alliances, arguing that a naval presence would impress potential partners like France, making them more willing to support the revolution. Adams wasn't just thinking about war. He was planning for the long-term survival of the Republic. Adams' influence didn't stop there. He continuously lobbied for naval expansion, carefully selecting capable leaders and ensuring the young fleet had a strategic purpose. Without his political vision and unwavering determination, America's Navy might have remained a scattered collection of privateers rather than the disciplined force that would challenge the British Empire. While Adams built the Navy on paper, John Paul Jones built its legend at sea. Born in Scotland in 1747 as John Paul, he began his maritime career at age 13, learning the ways of ships, trade, and combat. By the time the Revolutionary War broke out, Jones was already a seasoned sailor with a reputation for daring tactics and unyielding courage. Jones volunteered his services to the American cause and was promoted to captain in 1776, receiving command of the sloop Providence. His first cruise, beginning in April 1776, proved extraordinarily successful, capturing multiple prizes, including 8 British vessels by October 1776. By 1777, his command of the Ranger built on these successes, further establishing his reputation as one of America's most daring naval commanders. His most famous engagement came in 1779 aboard the ship Bonhomme Richard against the British warship HMS Serapis. Despite being heavily outgunned, Jones refused to surrender, declaring, "I have not yet begun to fight." Through skill, determination, and sheer audacity, he forced the British to surrender, a victory that would inspire Americans for generations. Jones' reputation spread quickly across Europe and America. After his stunning victory over the Serapis, he became a symbol of American defiance. He wasn't just a fighter. He was a strategist, writing extensively about discipline, professionalism, and honor in the Navy. Unlike many privateer captains who sought personal profit, Jones fought for principle and national recognition. He later served in the Russian Navy under Catherine the Great, proving his skills were respected far beyond American shores. His boldness, charisma, and flair for dramatic victories made him an international naval celebrity, elevating the credibility of America's fight for independence. Building a navy from scratch was no easy task. The fledgling United States faced challenges that ranged from limited funding and untrained crews to outdated technology. Ships had to be purchased or built, officers had to be trained, and strategies had to be developed against an enemy with centuries of naval dominance. Privateers played a crucial role. These civilian-owned ships, authorized to attack enemy vessels, harassed British supply lines and disrupted trade. While privateering was effective, Adams and others recognized that a formal navy was essential for long-term security and credibility on the world stage. Even with visionaries like Adams and commanders like Jones, building a navy required sacrifice. Resources were stretched thin, and many argued the money should go to the Continental Army instead. Yet Adams insisted ships were floating fortresses, essential for both morale and diplomacy. By the 1780s, American envoys could sit at negotiating tables in Europe with far greater respect, precisely because Jones and his men had proved America could win at sea. This blend of diplomacy and daring combat helped the United States gain recognition as a nation capable of defending itself both on land and across the oceans. By 1794, with tensions rising against France and continued threats from European powers, Congress authorized the construction of 6 frigates, powerful, fast ships that could challenge European warships. This marked the official founding of the United States Navy, with Adams serving as one of its most vocal advocates. The early American Navy was innovative out of necessity. Lacking the numbers of the Royal Navy, leaders like Jones and later Commodore John Barry emphasized guerre-de-course, hit-and-run tactics aimed at disrupting British trade rather than engaging in massive fleet battles. Speed, agility, and surprise became key strategies. Jones was a master of psychological warfare as well. His audacity in battle, combined with creative tactics such as nighttime boarding and deceptive maneuvers, made him a formidable opponent. These lessons would inform U.S. naval strategy for decades, creating a culture that valued ingenuity and boldness. The combined efforts of John Adams and John Paul Jones created a powerful foundation. Adams provided the political framework and institutional support. Jones proved that American sailors could stand toe-to-toe with the greatest naval powers. Together, they established a legacy of courage, vision, and national pride that continues to this day. Even after the Revolutionary War, Adams remained a key advocate for naval strength. During his presidency, he oversaw the completion, launching, and early deployments of the first 6 frigates authorized under the 1794 Naval Act, including the legendary USS Constitution. These ships would later serve in conflicts such as the Quasi-War with France and the Barbary Wars, cementing the Navy's reputation on the global stage. The story of America's Navy is more than a tale of ships and battles. It is a story of visionaries, risk-takers, and relentless determination. From the political foresight of John Adams to the audacious courage of John Paul Jones, the Navy was built on a belief in innovation, resilience, and the defense of liberty. It also teaches a crucial lesson. Great institutions require both vision and action. Adams provided the blueprint, but it was men like Jones who proved the blueprint could be executed under fire. Together, they created a force capable of defending a nation and projecting its power far beyond its borders. From a handful of ships and daring sailors to the global powerhouse the U.S. Navy is today, the journey began with vision, courage, and a refusal to accept defeat. So next time you see an American warship slicing through the waves, remember the men who dared to dream and fight for a nation's freedom on the high seas. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the origins of the U.S. Navy, like, share, and subscribe for more stories of history's boldest leaders and battles. Comment below, which figure do you think deserves the title of the true father of the U.S. Navy? John Adams or John Paul Jones? We want to hear your thoughts.